Hey y'all, so today we are going to talk about, I'm gonna have a open moment about me dealing with domestic violence. So I know the month of October was Domestic Violence Awareness Month, but I just wasn't in the right headspace to talk about it. And I am. So that's why we're here today. You might hear a little kid in the back because my daughter's like right underneath the camera playing with her toys. So today we gonna leave her here. We ain't gonna take her nowhere else. So I survived a domestic violent relationship. And you're gonna say how proper terms, but I survived domestic violence. And let me start off by saying I hate the term domestic violence. I feel like it just minimizes everything that someone goes through. Because especially in my case, this man tried to kill me. Like, he tried to kill me. It was attempted murder. It's assault. It's attempted murder at best. At least it's attempted murder. So when people use the term domestic violence, I feel like it's just enough. That to me just minimizes it. Oh, it's just a couple arguing. You know, couples argue. They have disagreements. It's a little small fight. But I want people to realize when it comes to women, and we'll talk about Black women in particular, the number one killer of Black women outside of, you know, heart disease, diabetes, and health reasons is Black men. When it comes to homicide and murder, the number one killer of Black women is Black men. So let's get that clear first. And the second part of that, it is usually someone that they know, a boyfriend, a husband, an ex, a friend, a coworker, that kills these women. So please, when people talk about domestic violence, don't brush it off as, oh, it's just a couple fighting. Like, this is something very serious. It is a very serious thing for someone to go through and deal with. So back to my situation when it comes to this. So this was someone I was dating. We went to high school together. And throughout the years, we would just always flirt, talk, communicate, especially online. And I want to say we ended up starting to date, like seriously date. And it was a quick relationship. Just due to circumstances, things happened. And I think this relationship went a little bit further than we both had intended. But it got into a quick relationship. So we started dating, and like most people, you think people are just awesome and good. When we first started dating, it wasn't just him trying to get to know me. He was trying to get to know my kids. Like, he would hit me up, and I'd be like, I'm busy, or I can't get out because I have my kids. Hey, don't mess with those lights, baby. Play with your toys. Yeah, play with that, or your little kitchen. Or go ride your bike. Ride your bus. Okay?
Bike.
So, yeah, ride your bike.
Bike.
Yeah, ride your bike. Okay, so yeah, so when we first met, he not only wanted to get to know me, but he wanted to also get to know my kids. So I would like tell him, like, I'm too busy, so I can't get out right now. So he would be like, no, I'm trying to take all y'all out. So we would go to movies, go see kids' movies. We'd go out to eat. We have like little play dates where, you know, he would take all of us out. And when it came to other things, like I worked an overnight job at a bakery, and like I'd be like, oh, I'm running late, or it's just a busy day. We have a lot of extra orders, and it's just me. He would come up to my job. He would help me finish my orders out so I would get done quicker. He did that numerous times, even with other things in my life that had nothing to do with him. He would help out with. I remember one situation where one of my child's father, his girlfriend, who just did not like me, she called CPS on me and my children, and just said like I was neglecting my children. I didn't take care of my children. My son was out running the streets, breaking things, getting into fights, which was completely untrue. But she also said that I had some unpaid car tickets, and she said she was going to call because there was a warrant out for me. So like with him, he just up and paid all my tickets off, as well as just helping me with day-to-day things. So a few months in of us dating, he ended up losing his place. So since we're kind of already dating, I'm like, all right, you have nowhere else to go, so I guess you can temporarily stay with me while we search for a place. And that was definitely the intended purpose. Like we were actively looking for new places for him to go to every single day. But within this time frame, a few, like 1 month passed, 2 month passed, in that second month, and this is after he was staying with me, I ended up getting pregnant. Even though I was like, since he's moving with me, I'm like, let me get on BC, which is birth control, and then got a phone call coming through. So I was like, let me go get on birth control, like do the right thing this time. It didn't matter. I still got pregnant. And since I got pregnant, like we had plans. Yeah, we talked about alternatives, but we came to a conclusion. He didn't have any children. This would be his first child. So we decided to go through with this pregnancy as well as this relationship. And at this point, I did not see any signs of violence. And at this point, he had even, as much as I'm spiritual and I don't care for church, I even started going back to church because he said he was into church. So I'm like, all right, let me be supportive of him. And we were even going to church. So yeah, we had talked about, our future, just how we were going to do. He had a decent job then too, and so he was making plans. So like when we have this child together, we had planned it all out. Like she was going to get on his insurance. He was just going to be helpful, take care of anything in regards to her. He was super happy. Like it was all good at that time. Then he went to get a better job, and he was on there, and on his 89th day of his 90-day probation, which he would have been a permanent employee, he got fired. And I think this is where the big turning point hit. And at this time, and even before that, like I said, I was working overnights at a bakery, which happened to be my ex's family's bakery. So he was like, well, since we're together now, like he even convinced me to, I needed a different job then too. So I went and got a better job as well as him going to go look for a job. So we both had good jobs. So he's like, let's get this house together because staying in an apartment with another child, we're just going to need more space. So we went and got a house together, and the people, it was a private landlord who liked couples and all of this other, who liked couples to rent to because he was married, no kids, whatnot. So we ended up getting this house together. Yes, baby. And this is our little one. All right, get down. All right, so this is where I saw the change in him. So he got fired. fell into,
Yeah.
I can't even say depressed like normal, but I started to see that there was no active effort into finding another job. He would literally sit up all day, play video games. So to pick up his slack, like I didn't even mention like baby stuff, like baby shower and all this other stuff. Like, why? You can't help me right now. So I'm not going to put that on your plate when you can't help me. So I was trying to give him time to adjust and process what just had happened. So I'm like, in the meantime, since I'm working overtime and taking care of everything. So I was like, at least do house stuff while you're not working. You can at least, like I said, cut the yard, make sure trash is taken out, make sure the house is clean, whatever it may be. And I would come home after working 8, 9, 10 hours, and nothing's done. So yard not cut, trash still there, dishes, whatever it may be, just to come find out he's been playing video games all day. And so like I would ask him, like, hey, did you apply to some places? Did you do what you need to do to get back in a position where you're back good? He would tell me yeah. And that's why I'm like, okay, but you've been good. You've always maintained a job before. So for a little bit, I was just like, all right, I'm going to believe it. I'm going to trust him, whatever. And after a while, I'm just like, something's not up. So I'd be like, hey, like, so what jobs you apply to? And this made me nagging. Like, I literally would ask him like this, like, so hey, what jobs do you apply to? Or like, have you set up any interviews? Like, I can do this day, just let me know, and then we can work it out. And he'd be like, no, nobody hit me back. But yeah, I applied to some places, and it's just like maybe like 3 weeks, maybe a month into this, I was just like, something's up. So let me take a look. He would tell me, he was like, yeah, I applied on my my video game console on the internet through there. So I'm like, okay. Like, well, what resume? He showed me some old resume. I end up updating his resume for him. I applied to some places for him. But kind of find out he wasn't trying to apply to anything. He didn't. Because, yeah, I'm not one to go behind somebody and go through phones or check browser history. But I'm just like, in this situation, with me bringing in another child, like, you got to be on it. So when I went to go check, he literally did nothing. Literally played video games all day. He watched porn all day, but not apply to jobs, not put in any effort. But then, and again, grass not cut, not do anything like that. So I would come home, still pregnant, very much so pregnant. I would cut my grass, pregnant. I would take out my trash. I would also cook dinner, make sure the house was clean and everything was taken care of, pay all the bills. Like, I was doing all of this on my own.
Wait, Mommy.
What's up?
I tell you to do it.
Like I said, going to work 8, 9, 10 hours a day, come home, cook dinner, cut the grass, straighten up, make sure everything cool, and he would just be there. And got to a point like, okay, let the first month go. I'm like, you're depressed, you're sad, whatever, whatnot. Going into that second month of this, I'm just like, this isn't working for me. Like, it doesn't take long after leaving a long-term relationship. Before him, I was with someone for 7 years. And I'm like, I'm not going to waste my time and again, I'm now on my third child. I'm not going to waste my time with a relationship or anybody. Like, I know very early or quickly, like, if it ain't working, it's not going to work, and that's okay. Like, you can keep it moving. So I even came to him. I was like, hey, like, what's the deal? Like, what do you plan on doing? Like, whatever you need for me to do, I can help with. I just need something. And again, this when I first start seeing that anger kind of pop out. Like, what are you talking about? I'm doing what I'm supposed to be doing. I'm applying a job, so just not calling me back. They're not doing anything. And like he would tell me, like, you didn't have to cut the grass. I was going to cut it. And then in my head, I'm like, but I've been gone for 10 hours. Like, I've been gone for longer than that. Like, I left at 6 this morning, and it's now 5 o'clock, 6 o'clock at night, and it's still not done. You literally had nothing else to do. That's all I asked you to do today, and it's not done. And then he would say things like, well, that's your fault that you went ahead and cut the grass when I told you I was going to do it. And I'm like, but my landlord drove by and he doesn't like when the grass is unkempt. He will call the city. He will get you fined. So this is why it's so important for me to cut my grass. So it's not like I'm just nagging you. Like, I've asked you. I'll let it go because you're a grown person and you should be able to handle that on your own. And I'm not going to say anything else. You didn't do it. So guess what? I'm grown. I like cutting grass, so I'll cut it. Even though I'm pregnant, don't want. So yeah, he would, so he would make those comments. I'm like, okay, that's weird, but okay. If that's how we're going to handle this situation, okay, I'm gonna let it go. But whatevs. So I just go back, my daily routine. Go to work, come home, cook, do for my kids, make sure my son gets to school, get back, whatever. And again, so month 2, we in like month 3 now. Still no job, still not making no progress. So I'm like, what the fuck is going on? Like, why aren't what's going on? I am not going to be taking care of a grown man. I'm just not. Like, I get you down and out, whatever, whatnot, but we on 3rd month. So you need to get it together. So literally, he just left everything for me to take care of. Going on this 3rd month, I started noticing when I would get home and he was playing the game, he would start acting weird on the game. To the people we've normally talked to, like, we'd sit up, have normal conversations with who he used to play with before, and all of a sudden he start acting weird. Like, I would come in the room, he'd get quiet, or he'd be like, oh, don't, he would start talking to me a different way than what he normally would, or just even not acknowledge that I was in the room or next to him. Then I started noticing one person in particular, who he was playing with, and like, I leave the room and then I hear the conversation change and all this other things. And so I'm just like, okay, he left one day and I'm like, let me look up some shit. Like, I know about a game system, so let me look it up. Come to find out, he met some gamer girl he was talking to. He was always flirting and just saying all these things, like, when he wished he could meet her and date her, and once he seen her, he was going to take her out on a date. We were having sexual conversations and all these other things. So I'm like, yeah, that was like final straw for me. On top of, first, you're not doing what you need to do here, but then on top of not doing what you need to do here, you're now promising other people things when, again, you're not taking care of home. Come to find out, he told this other girl we were just roommates. I was the reason he lost his apartment. Did not even tell her we were pregnant. None of that. So I was just like, yeah. So one night we're sitting in bed. and he said something. I can't remember exactly what he said, but I came to him. I was like, hey, I have a proposal for you. And I was like, I see that I don't think this is working like we thought it would be working, or how we wanted to work, or how we planned on it working. And I'm okay with that. And I also told him I seen your messages. So I was just like, hey, if you want to be single, and again, I didn't argue. I didn't come at him yelling. I didn't come at him crazy. Just like I'm saying this on this camera, this is exactly how I told him. So I was just like, hey, if you want to be single, you can be single. Like, that's fine with me. I co-parent very well with my other fathers. This house is big enough. It's a 3-bedroom house, had a bathroom upstairs and downstairs. I'm like, if you want to keep this room down here, I said I can take the room upstairs with my kids. It was 2 bedrooms upstairs. I said I can be up there with them. They had a little play area, and we can just co-parent. But you will, if you're going to be in this house, you have to be paying something. Like, I'm not going to take care of you and take care of my kids and pay every single bill in this house, rent, gas, water, electric, buy all the groceries because I was not on any assistance or anything, and take care of a new child and take care of you and everything that you need. And we're not together and you're out talking to other women. Like, it's just not going to happen. Now, I didn't say all of that. But that was my thought process. I was just like, hey, you can co-parent. I'll take upstairs. You can take downstairs. And then you get up the rent until you get into position to get your own spot. And I'm totally fine with co-parenting. I'm totally fine with this not working out. It is what it is. And I'm okay with that. And when I say he snapped, sorry. And sorry, y'all, but he just snapped. Like, the bed we were in, it was pretty high. I say I'm 5'6". When I stand up, the top of the bed probably came to like my boob height, standing tall. So he was like, if that's how it is, he said, get the fuck out my bed. And I'm like, okay, cool. I got 2 beds upstairs. I got a couch I can sleep on. That's perfectly fine. If you're upset right now, I get you're upset. I just told you, like, do you. So I went to get out of this bed. And as I'm crawling, again, at this point in time, I was 36 weeks pregnant. So I'm pretty big. So I'm crawling out the bed. I get to the edge of the bed. He's still laying down. And I'm facing forward, crawling out of the bed because it's a big bed and I was on the back end. He was on the edge. So I'm getting out the bed, and when I get towards the edge of the bed, about to like shift my body to get down, he kicks me. So I fall off of the bed onto the floor. I'm in complete shock. So kicks me. I fall on the floor. And I'm looking up like, what the fuck? Like, what are you doing? And again, he wasn't a little guy. He was what, 5'10", 5'11", 250, almost 250, around there. Yeah, 250, between 250, 300. Used to play semi-pro football, so he's a pretty big guy. He kicks me, and I'm looking up at him, and he goes to kick me again, and I'm like, yo, like, stop, chill, what the fuck? And instead of kicking me, he goes to punch me, and he hit me in my face. So I'm putting my hands up because again, I'm 36 weeks pregnant, and I'm on the floor. Like, he already kicked me on the floor, so I'm on the floor with my hands up, trying to block the punches and the kicks, and he just starts wailing on me, like, just nonstop. So I'm up here screaming for him to stop, and he didn't. So I'm trying to like crawl away because I'm in the bedroom, the door's right to my left. So in the midst of this, I'm trying to block, but he's just wailing on me. I started trying to crawl away, and again, he didn't stop. He just kept kicking and punching at me and just talking shit. I don't even remember what he said, because in that moment I just couldn't remember. And so I crawl out the room, and there's like my dining room table and everything in there. Like, I try to get up, he's like pushing on my dining room table. He didn't move the chair, so like I was able to get up and go into the living room. And again, he just pushes me again. I fall back down, and he just goes back in. He goes back in, punch and kicking me out. And it was so much like I couldn't stop all the punches. I couldn't stop all the kicks. And at this point, like, I'm crying because I'm in pain. And I'm screaming for him to stop. And he just wouldn't. And he kept yelling at me. He kept telling me, he was like, shut the fuck up. Like, quit crying. Quit crying. And I'm like, you're hurting me. How am I supposed to stop crying when you're literally hurting me? Like, he didn't stop. He just kept saying, he kept punching me and hitting me and kicking me. And he kept telling me to be quiet. And at this time, my kids were upstairs too. And like, I kept seeing flashes, and I just knew in that moment, this was it. I just knew that in that moment, I was going to die. I've been in car wrecks. I've been hurt other kind of ways. I've had surgeries. Like, my heart is even stopped. I've been electrocuted. Like, my heart is even stopped. And no time ever in life did I feel in those moments that I was going to die. But this moment when he was attacking me, in my head, I knew this was it. I'm about to die. My kids are upstairs. Either they're going to come downstairs to my dead body, or after he kills me, he's going to go upstairs and kill my kids. I don't know what it was. But again, he just kept wailing on me and telling me to shut up and be quiet. It's like everything, I say everything in me, to just suck it up and be quiet. I literally sat there and I played dead. I had to play dead for him to stop attacking. So I'm sitting there and I'm holding my breath and I'm stopped crying and I'm in so much pain. And he stood there. He finally stopped attacking me. And he just stood there over me, silent, just like Hulk mode. Just stood there. Sorry, y'all. And he just stood there over me like Hulk mode. Hands still balled up, fist for a good 10 minutes. I had to sit there and be quiet for a full 10 minutes. And I just laid there. And he finally walked off. And he went back into the room. And he went back into the room and got back on the game. And even after he walked off, I laid there for another 5-10 minutes. I know my kids, they didn't heard me screaming and yelling. They didn't heard all this shit breaking and moving. And I'm thankful for this little guy. Because I know it was him who kept him and his sister upstairs quiet. They didn't come downstairs. I'm so thankful he didn't come downstairs. Because I don't know what would have happened to him or my daughter. So he didn't come back out. So I was able to call to my phone and call 911. And I sat in the house and I gave them my address. And I quietly told them what happened. And I was like, please don't use the sirens when you get here. Because he's still here. And they get there. And they get to the door and he's like, who's at the door? And I open the door. And it's the police. And I tell him that he just attacked me. And again, that's why I say I hate when they use this term domestic violence. Because this man just tried to murder me. Whatever it was in him, he just tried to murder me. And I really feel like he thought I was dead. Like when I say I literally laid there. I didn't breathe. I didn't make a sound. I didn't move. I just stayed there with my body slumped. I really honestly think he felt he had succeeded in murdering me. I don't know if he thought he knocked me out or if I was dead, but he didn't care. Police get there. And they start their normal, usual line of questioning. What happened? None of this happened. And I'm telling you, like, hey, he just tried to murder me. Like, he attacked me. I'm pregnant. He attacked me. Like, literally every fucking thing hurts on my body. And they say, oh, did you guys just... What were you doing? You guys argue? Like, what you do to provoke him? What you do to set it off? And I'm like, what? What the fuck does it have to do with him trying to murder me? And I'm like, I didn't provoke him at all. And he was like, well, what happened? I said, yes, I did try to end our relationship. I was like, if he wanted to be single, like, he can be single. I'm okay with that. And it was like, oh, so you provoked him. And I'm like, what? How is that provoking someone when I literally, like, I'm telling you guys, this literally, I said, like, hey, you want to act single? Like, that's okay. You can be single. I'm okay with that. But they said I provoked him. And then when they went to go question him, he told them that we got in an argument. I tried to leave and I tripped and fell. And that's how I hurt myself, because I tripped and fell. And I'm like,
Mommy,
yes, baby.
why do you work?
It don't work.
Look.
Yeah, it just don't work. Go put it in that basket. All right, play with something else.
This is.
Yeah, Tristan?
Mm-hmm.
Go get Tristan.
I go pee-pee.
Yeah, go pee-pee.
Can you help me?
You need help?
Mm-hmm.
I'll walk you up the steps, okay? All right. I have to go help the little one pee. That shit's still very triggering, so sorry I didn't able to get myself together. But so police get there. They go in the room to talk to him, and again he told them, we got in an argument, I tried to leave, I tripped and fell, and that's how I hurt myself. But again, when I said they came in there, he was sitting on the game playing Madden like nothing just didn't happen. Like he just didn't try to kill me. But luckily, there were officers there who believed me. My face, I'm dark, so I don't bruise easily, but my face was swollen. Like the whole side of my face was swollen. Very noticeable. And everything on my body hurt. So they did arrest him and they took him. And that very next day, I went to work. I told my coworkers what happened. They were trying to be as supportive as they could. It was like, if I need any time or whatever, go to the hospital, court, because I did file a police report. I definitely did. I tell myself I've never been in an abusive relationship before. I wasn't going to start now. I was almost 30. It was 2018. So I'm 32 now. It's 2020. So I was 29. I don't know why I can't think right now. So 3 years ago, I was 29. It's like I'm almost 30. I've never been in an abusive relationship. I'm not going to start now. So I promptly filed charges. Filed for a restraining order. And yeah, and so they arrested him. They take all your information down. One thing you have to keep repeating the story over and over and over again. So to about 3 cops that night, I had to explain what just had happened. When I went to go file the police report, shout out to the women at Rosebrooks. That's where I filed my first one at. I was able to go on their campus and file a report, so they sit there with you. Got to tell them full story again. When you file the report, they send it off and do the rest of the paperwork for you. When they get any results or when it's ready, they call you and let you know. And even when he got arrested, KCPD, they let me know. They take your info down. They have a hotline, so when these people are released, you're supposed to get a phone call that they are released or they have been let go out of jail, whatever reason. So I gave my number to them. I'm thinking everything is fine. He's been arrested. I did call his mother, let his father know. I also let his cousin know, because we used to always go over his cousin's house and let all the kids play together. I let his cousin know what happened. And after that, kind of found out his mom was like, yeah. His mother was like, I knew some things before, that he had anger issues and all of this other things. And I'm like, His cousin said the same thing. Yeah, he didn't went through this before with someone else. And I'm like, so all the times that I met you and dealing with all this, like, none of you warned me. So nobody said nothing. Like when I said, nobody said nothing. Nobody warned me. That he gets super angry like this, or if he had attacked somebody previously. No one said anything to me. I wish they would have. Because I definitely, at the beginning of this, would have made different decisions in regards to even dating. Like, because I do always do a background check. There wasn't anything on his background check either. Come to find out later, the girl who had press charges, who I called before, she never went through with it. So charges got dropped. Nothing ever happened. She didn't go through with it. But a few days passed, maybe like 5-6 days passed, and I think he's gone. He's done with it. He's not going to come back here. He's going to go to his cousin's house, whoever house. I don't give a fuck where he goes, but he's going to go there, and they'll just call or whatnot when he wants to come get his items, because I don't want to keep his items. I'll give him his items back. I'll gladly give him his clothes, again, whatever he wants. Like, he can take it. I don't want to deal with him. But I get a knock on the door one day. I'm not going to open the door. It's him, because KCPD failed to do what they said that they were going to do, and it's him, and he's at my door. And the first thing he comes in, he starts arguing again. He bursts in the door and he starts arguing again. He broke a window, he broke a shelf, he knocked over a shelf, broke a window, and he starts flipping out, and I'm like, what the fuck? Like, I'm thinking I just have a little second of peace, and he's right back. When I tell you, I was terrified, and I was like, he's came back for revenge. He's gonna finish me off, but he did it. He broke this shit, and this is where the threats start coming in. Because again, remember, I'm pregnant with his child. So he tells me nothing is going to keep me away from my child. Fuck me, fuck everything else. And I'm okay with that. I was okay with that. But nothing's going to keep me away from my child. If you try to do anything that keeps me away from my child, I will kill you. And then people will sit up here and like, oh, it's just a threat. But he literally just tried to kill me. The same person who said on multiple occasions that they loved me. They would do anything for me. All of this. Who literally tried to kill me, just told me if I tried to take my child away from him, he would kill me. Not only would he kill me, he would kill our child, and then he would kill himself. I didn't care about him killing himself. I really didn't. But I can't let him kill me or my child. So in the midst of this, talking to the Roseburg lady and filing a restraining order and pressure charges. They always tell you, make a plan to get out safely. Because it is very highly likely they attack you once, they'll attack you again. If they do it once, they'll do it again. Abusers are usually abusers. It's not usually just a one-off thing. They tend to do it again. So I'm like, okay, he's back. So what is the best way to go about this? How do I get out of this? And I have like two very close friends that like I'll tell anything. One, we actually weren't talking at the time, and another, like, she was going and dealing with her own thing. So like, and I'm not very much close to my family either. So I felt like I was dealing with this and going through this alone. And he knows where my people stay, my mom stay, like he knows because he's been there. Like I was gonna have a child by this man. He's been around my family. I was dating this man. And if he just told me, if he literally almost killed me, I know what will stop him from killing my family. Like nothing. Like we have an attachment or a connection, and he still almost killed me. So me, like, there's nothing that he wouldn't even think twice about killing my family. So I tried to deal with this as best as I could on my own. In the time being, shout out to my other children's fathers. I told them what happened. They did offer to take him out, but I was like, that's not going to be on y'all. That's going to be on me, and I don't want that on my conscience or my soul, and that shouldn't be y'all place to have to take care of that. So I don't want y'all to do that. And even the ambulance driver, one ambulance driver that I'm in, he was like, fucking poison him in his sleep, take him out in his sleep. But again, I do that. That's premeditated. And I'm not going to give this man the satisfaction of being in jail for murder because he wanted to try to kill me. I'm not going to let him. I'm not going to let him win like that. No, I'm not going to do it. So I was like, let me make this plan to get out. So my son's father took him, and my daughter's father took her. Well, I got this worked out, situated. In the midst of this, we went to court originally because I filed the restraining order. So he was very well aware. And again, through all the steps, you have to keep repeating the story of everything that happens. So my children are now gone. Again, they're with their dads. Shout out to their dads. I really appreciated them during this time. So again, I was 36 weeks pregnant. I end up having my daughter. He gets charged with assault. He is now in anger management classes. And he has a record. So you look him up, you will find the assault on his record. I wanted to be there for the next person. That's why I went through going through court. I know some people, they don't go through the process or finish the process, but I wanted to. And again, shout out to the Rosebrooks ladies. It wasn't my friends or my families who were going to court with me. It was the ladies from Rosebrooks who were there with me every step of the way. Going to go file new paperwork, going to court. They were the ones who were there. But again, going to the hospital, you have to repeat the story of what happened. He went on to the hospital after this. He fractured my face. That's how hard he was hitting me. That he fractured my face. So, when y'all see the picture, like broken blood vessels in my eye. He fractured my face. My face actually hurt. I want to say a good 3 months. Even after the situation, it was still hurting all the way up till 3 months after. My body was still hurting. And I ended up delivering early. I ended up delivering my child early. She was supposed to be due on Halloween. They induced my labor on October 11th for her to come because she was not getting enough oxygen through my umbilical cord to her. So she was very tiny when she was born. She was like 4 pounds, 12 ounces. Like, she was really tiny. And they said that was due to her getting a lack of oxygen. And even then, he blamed me for that. And they say, like, how do you not think you attacking me and damn near beating me, kicking me, and punching me? You don't think that had anything to do with the development of our child? Nope, it's my fault because I was defective, just inferior. I didn't take care of myself, which is, of course, just all untrue. I did too much, so that's the reason she wasn't getting enough oxygen to her. So we had our child. He is now in anger management classes. Did I put shit past him? Like, did I plan on staying? No, I never planned on staying. Some people, I have a sister, she was like, yeah, you were going to stay. No, I never planned on staying. I always planned on getting away. But again, I wanted to do it safely. I wanted to do it the right way. Because I did not want him attacking me again. I didn't want him hurting my children. I did not want him hurting any family, whatnot, whatever. Yeah, baby. What's up? You okay? So, anger management classes, whatnot. So I'm like, all right, my kids are now gone. And I planned on one day, and I was like, I'm gonna get my stuff and I'm gonna leave while he is at anger management class. Because it's an hour long, so I was like, an hour is a good enough time. I can't pack shit because he's at this house. He's unemployed. He's always at this house. Like, I was pretty much just being held hostage at my house. He's always home. He never goes anywhere, so he's always here. So I was like, on one of these days, when he goes to anger management class, I'm gonna pack my stuff up and I'm gonna leave. So he goes to anger management class. I actually dropped him off. And so I was like, so I know where he was going to be at. So I dropped him off. I rushed back home. But again, I have a newborn at this time. So I have a little baby. So I'm trying to do all of this with my baby. And I get to the house. I'm starting to pack stuff. All of a sudden, again, knock at the door. And it's him. And I'm like, I'm in the middle of packing. So I tried to hurry up, throw stuff back how it was. And I opened the door and I'm like, what happened? Like, why aren't you in class? He was like, oh, class got canceled. So they let us all go. He just decided to ride the bus back to the house.
Mommy.
Yeah, what's up? You can play with it.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Cool.
It's pretty. Yeah.
Cool.
Cool. Yeah.
Whoa.
Go wrap up something with it.
Huh?
Go wrap up something with it.
Huh?
No, go play with it. So he gets back in there. I think he kind of noticed something was going on. And even that day when he gets back, and he was just like, I don't know why the fuck I'm in these anger management classes. Like, I don't have a problem. And get in my head, I'm like, you definitely have a problem. You definitely have a problem with anger. And he was like, it's fucking stupid. I don't need this shit. You guys need this shit. Like, you need this. You the one. And I'm like, I'm not an angry person. I don't yell. I don't argue. I don't do nothing crazy. He was like, you need this. I don't need this. Ain't nothing wrong with me. He made me sit there and watch the videos that they would show him in anger management class. And he said, see, you have these issues. There's nothing wrong with me. I don't have these issues. This is the shit you need. So after sitting there for an hour and a half, watching these videos, all these different YouTube videos from anger management classes, they're bullshit videos. Probably about a month later, I don't even remember what happened this day. But he attacked me again. But I fought back this time. He swung at me. I swung at him. I was kicking him. We were fighting back. I was fighting back. But I'm like, he's going to try to kill me again. Because for some reason, this man hadn't left during this whole period of time. Nothing. I used to try to tell his cousin to come get him, his mother, dad, like, just take him, please take him. I don't know why he still wants to stay. But with the restraining order, since his name was also on the lease, I could not kick him out. And I didn't find out till after the fact that if you're in a domestic violence situation and you're in that lease with somebody, you in the state of Missouri can break your lease without any penalty if you're in a domestic violence situation. There is a law that allows you to break that lease. All you have to do is let your landlord or whoever know that you're breaking your lease due to domestic violence. Make sure you have all your paperwork, but you can legally move out with no penalty, stop it, not owe anything else due to domestic violence. So please use those resources. You can also get reimbursed for things too. Missing time off work. You can get reimbursed for your medical bills, all of that. Under the victims compensation law, if you were attacked due to domestic violence. And please also don't be afraid or feel too prideful to go to the shelters like Rosebrooks. There are a few other ones, and the safe houses and things. If you're dealing with this, get away. Please, I urge you, get away. Have a plan, get away. If they do it once, they're going to do it again. 99% of the time, they're going to do it again. So yeah, this day he attacked me. But I fought back this time. I really can't remember what triggered this fight. But I left. He broke my phone this time, so I wasn't able to call 911. But in the midst of fighting, I was able to get out of the house this time. And there was a taser that I was given at work from one of my inspectors at the time, for protection for myself. He took that taser. He chased me down the street and he tasered me in my chest. And he already knew, like, I had a heart arrhythmia. He tasered me in my chest with a taser. After attacking me again, he tasered me outside in public. So I'm running away. There was some neighbors outside. I asked them to call 911 because, again, he just had broke my phone. They kind of just shook their head no and just went on about their business. There was another neighbor down the street that I asked could I use their phone because I got off my block and ran down the street. This time he attacked me. They didn't want to call 911 either. I don't understand why. It was men this time. He like, what happened? I'm like, yeah, I just got attacked. He said, yeah, I ain't trying to get involved with that. I'm like, you're not getting involved. You're just letting me borrow your phone. While I call 911, you ain't got to do shit. I ain't even got to be at your house when they come. Like, I'll be at the church that's by my house, or, back up by my wherever. Like, he was like, no, they're not gonna let me use my phone either. And so he's still coming down the street. So I make it down the street. I stayed off 35th and 35th and Askew. But the store, Cleveland Market, 35th and Cleveland, was down the street. So I make it down to this store. I didn't have on shoes either. So I make it down to the store and I let them know what happened. Again, shout out to them and those fellas in there for letting me use the phone. And all this is going on, he had my baby. He did all this with my baby. And I felt so bad. I had to run away and leave my baby there. But like I said, it was... I'll never understand why somebody can have so much hatred towards a person. So I'm in Cleveland Market and the fellows was like, what happened? So they let me use the phone. And they was like, yeah, you can wait here and sit here until the police get there. And he comes down to the store too with my baby. And he's being all nice. Since everybody's out there now, they can see what he's doing. He's being all nice. He was like, just come home. Like, you tripping. Just come home. Like, he really tried to make it seem like I was tripping. Like, this just didn't happen. Like, this man just didn't attack me. That he didn't just try to taser me. And I'm so thankful for the men there at the market. And they was like, no, we not gonna let him fuck with you. And I was like, no, she not leaving. She not going nowhere. So that's it. So the police get there. And again, he's holding my baby like nothing. Like, oh, she's just tripping. She's just doing this. And I'm just telling police, like, I just want my baby. Like, I'm trying to play it cool. And I'm like, yeah, he attacked me. But like, he's holding my baby this entire time. And I'm just like, I just want my baby. So I was like, yeah, let me see the baby. Let me make sure she's all right. The police officer who did that to him, he finally let go of my child because he did not want to give up our child at first. So he finally let go of our child. He was a police officer. And when that happened, like, I just break down and I just start going off like, fuck you. Like, you did all that shit up there. Now it's people watching and it's men down here and you ain't gonna do shit. Like, you a bitch. You a pussy. Like, that's it. And they gave me my baby and I'm just like, man, fuck you. I hope you rot in jail. I'm pressing charges again. Because the penalty of, he was already on probation for assault. So he should have gone back to jail after attacking me again this time. So I pressed charges again. And this time during court. They didn't send him back to jail. All they did was give him a second probation. And I'm like, what's the fucking point of having him on probation for this and have the penalty of jail time? Because that's the whole point. The threat of going back to jail for a certain amount of time is supposed to deter them from attacking you again. But they just gave him probation again. I don't understand that. I really don't. I that is something that baffles me and I just do not understand. So they give him a second probation. He does not go back to court, but he doesn't go back to jail. And they let him free again. That very next day, he was back walking the streets. But he did eventually just go to his cousin's house, even though I had the restraining order. It had got approved. He still came to my house that very next day and he took his things out the house, even though he was supposed to schedule it and come get it. He took some things out of the house. That's scary. And my landlord did not change the locks. But he finally did leave after that second time. And it's just crazy to see the amount, even in court, you have to say all these things that happen again in front of everybody. The whole fucking courtroom. And there's other couples and other people there going through the same shit. Like, I don't get why people are so fucking crazy. It's people that have had to get the law involved to tell you to leave them alone. And there are people, he pled guilty to anything. It was like, yeah, I'll leave her alone. I'll get away with it, whatever. But there were people in court who were fighting to stay in people's lives. Like, they've gotten police involved. They are in court to get the law involved to tell you to leave them alone. And there are people like, no, I ain't gonna leave these people alone. I don't want to leave her alone. I'm staying in her life. She ain't getting rid of me. Like, do you know how fucking crazy that is? Or you tell somebody, like, no, I don't want to be with you anymore. And you're like, nope, you're not getting rid of me. And if I can't have you, can't nobody else have you. Like, that's fucking mental. That's fucking crazy. And I don't know where that comes from, where that stems from, why some people are so fucking fragile. And not just men, just in court, it was mostly men not wanting to leave women alone. But I also see it on the flip side. Like, my son's dad, he was dealing with domestic violence between him and his girl. And this is one we just do not like. Like, when I say this woman is evil, when I say she's done things to me multiple times, when I've bought groceries for her and her house and her kids, and like, I've taken her to the store, doctor, like, I don't give a fuck who the children of my father's, who they date. I don't care who they date, but she just did not like me for whatever reason. But she was super malicious and just evil. And I know the extent of things that she can go to because she's did it to me. but she's attacked him. She's left him outside. They fought. She knocked him out. She left him outside. She hit him so hard also that she broke the blood vessels in his eye. And a few months ago, they got into it again, and she threw hot grease on him. So right now, his dad just has burns from his face, his whole chest and body, because she threw hot grease on him during an argument. So yeah, so I also believe men are also victims of domestic violence. It's not just women; it's women on women, men on men. Everyone can be a victim. Anyone can be a victim. It's not just men beating women. But I do feel they need to change this whole term. Domestic violence is just not. It's not enough. It's assault. It's attempted murder. It is murder. A man murdering his wife, and they call it domestic violence, and he only gets a few years as a point to just straight up murder. It's murder. It's assault, and I hate that they just minimize it to, oh, it's just a couple arguing, a couple fighting. But I survived. And even during all of this, I didn't want to seem bitter. So when we were going through court, he was like, I still want to see my daughter or whatnot or whatever. So we went through the courts with everything as far as the parenting schedule. I just gave him everything that he wanted. I didn't argue. I didn't counter everything. Whatever days, holidays, weekends, whatever you want, you can have it. And I gave it to him. And no arguments, no questions asked. We met at the police station to exchange our daughter. And we hadn't had any issues since. Yeah, he talked a little shit here and there. But as far as any major issues or anything, like, I just didn't communicate with him. Only time I'm on my way to the police station. I'm here. All right, you're at the police station. All right, I'll be there. I'm about to pick my daughter up. And that was a majority of our communication. He used to tell me I'm a bad mom. That was his daughter. It wasn't our daughter or my daughter. It was just his daughter. I'm a bad mom. I don't take care of my daughter. He'd do a better job than me, whatnot, whatever. And here we are today, November 2021. And he hasn't seen his daughter, talked to her, checked on her, anything since November of 2020. So it is going on a full year now to where he hasn't done anything for his daughter, seen her, spoke to her, heard from her, whatnot. I seen like a few months ago somebody asking like, hey, how's your baby girl? And he's like, oh, it's fine. No longer friends on social media, but before, maybe 6 months ago, that was our main form of communication through Messenger, which was also on file records. Yeah, some girl asked like, how's your baby girl? And he was like, oh, she's great. And I wouldn't be bitter, but I wouldn't say you don't know. You haven't seen your daughter. You haven't spoken to her. You haven't done anything for her. When she was a baby, I've bought every can of milk. I feed her. I've bought every outfit. Like, I take care of her. But he hasn't done anything in a year. Other than to say I'm a bad mom, he could do better than me. I ain't shit. Just the list goes on. That's part as far as that. That is me surviving domestic violence. And then I'll talk about the after effects in another video, because that's going to take more time. Because yeah, I do suffer now from PTSD, anxiety, depression, I want to say the usuals. But it was bad. Even during all of this, I did have a full mental breakdown where I did have to go seek help and go to the hospital because I had a whole mental breakdown. I just was not in charge of my thoughts, trying to deal with all of this, make sure my kids are safe, make sure I'm safe, make sure my baby's safe, just to get away from this man. and almost dying. Like, I completely think different now. I did start therapy. Like, I've talked to other professionals, but like seriously started therapy a few months back. I started therapy. She thinks I now have like ADHD, just how my brain works and how I think. Like, it's completely different. Um, and the flashes of PTSD, like, I hear stories of people, like when they talk about cops, oh, he thought he had a gun, and it was a brush or a cell phone. Those cops don't need to be on the force because they definitely have PTSD. Because I went into a store one time and it was a guy um, about to pay for his food. And in that moment, I thought I saw him pull out a gun and I thought this place was about to get robbed, until I calmed down and realized it was just his wallet. And I don't want to be one of those people. Um, but the fact that there are moments where you're not in control or your brain is thinking something completely different, I knew, yeah, it was definitely time to seek help and get help. Um, and that is where it stems from. So every day I work through those issues. Some days I have really bad days. Some days are great. Most of the time I'm good, but I have really bad days. I have a bad week here and there, to where I feel like I just completely shut down, or like I feel like I'm not in control of my thoughts or whatnot. Um, Shout out to my friends. They're super supportive. Um, a therapist. Um, yeah, and it's something that I work on daily. I did not want to let it make me hard or cut me off from everything else. Like, and like I said in another video, like, that's another reason why I'm just kind of living life doing what I do, because any day could be it. That's it. Like, I just knew when he was attacking me, that was it. That was going to be the last breath that I took, and I haven't done anything with my life or myself. And this is how it's going to end, at the hands of someone that I'm dating who said they loved me and whatnot. And I want to tell you guys, that's not love. It's not close to love. Not even far away from love. Like, it's not it. And if they do it, they'll do it again. Please get away. Please make a plan. There are so many places that you can call and get away to. Um, don't deal with it. Don't. And if you got away and you lived and you survived, and whether it's hard, whether it was easy, whatnot, shout out to you. You survived, because there are so many who don't. There are so many not here to tell their story. There's so many who have lost their mind. There's so many who let these people win. There are so many people so stuck in it that they can't leave. But you made it. You lived. You survived. You left. You made it. Shout out to you. And yeah, that's my story. And I hope it can help someone. Yeah. Peace.